Welcome to The Life of You, the bonus episode of The Life of Bryony, where we tackle your dilemmas and try not to make them any worse. I'm joined once again by the incredible Calum Scott, who is a singer, songwriter, and as it turns out, a man absolutely chock-a-block full of wisdom to share with you.
For me, rejection has made me stronger, and I still find it difficult when somebody goes, you know, I've cried writing a song, I've put it to my label and they've gone, it's not your best.
Your questions answered right after this. Chloe says, I've always dreamed of working in music, but I'm terrified of rejection. Mm-hmm. How do you push through that fear of failure?
Oh my God, such a good question. And something that I struggle with still, even to this day. So I think for me, when I was on the show, obviously I got my golden buzzer and was Bucky's favourite to win, and you know, all the success was coming and I was, you know, just there to receive it. And then when I was on the final of Britain's Got Talent, I mucked up my words a little bit, made it really obvious, and it felt from that moment it was just rejection. Simon didn't sign me, the show finished and everybody who I'd spoken to disappeared. You know, I had nothing after the show. I was on my way back up to Hull crying my eyes out thinking I'm going to have to go back working for the council. And I was seriously, I was just sat there going, I can't believe that it felt like the world was in my hands and now it's gone. And I learned very soon after that the only way that I was going to succeed was by being persistent and being resilient. Mm-hmm. And so I was knocking on doors. I rang my music lawyer. I was like, can you put me in touch with somebody who can help me? And then I started getting gigs, and even then it was a bit of an uphill struggle. And, you know, I still got a lot of rejection. And even to this day, I'll release songs and it would be like, oh, that's not for us, and it'll get rejected. Songs that I've cried writing. But I think for me, the rejection only makes you stronger, only makes you hungrier. And although it's terrifying, it's one of those things where it's a bit of a leap of faith. For me, you know, you stood on the edge and it's, you know, it's terrifying to look over and you get that well in the stomach. But it's, if you just allow yourself, the possibilities are endless. You know, I think one thing I found is that if you do nothing, the only thing that is, you know, the only thing that is going to happen is nothing. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's the only thing that's real. Whereas if you allow yourself to fail, there's so many outcomes, and you learn nothing from success.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's like I always remember having a school teacher who's like, you only learn things from getting them
failure.
Wrong.
Yeah.
But also, I think that there's a saying that I find really comforting at times of quote unquote failure, which is rejection is the universe's protection. And it's actually, don't think of it as rejection, think of it as redirection.
Yeah.
So what it's doing is just telling you, well, those people aren't for you.
Right.
That thing isn't right for you. Yeah. So you're going to have to take the different route and, you know, and trust that it's going to take you somewhere that is right for you.
Yeah, 100%. And what I will say is, and what, you know, I'm working a lot with my therapist at the minute, and what I will say is that it's valid. Feeling rejection and being worried about rejection is very valid. Nobody wants to be told, no, they're not good enough, or that song's not good enough, or you're never going to be a singer. Nobody wants to hear that. But I just think as valid as that feeling is, like you said, it's just maybe not that right time or not that right moment. And this is one thing that I said to my sister is she would compare me and her. She'd go, we both went for the show. You got a golden buzzer and I got 4 no's. And I said, but that might have not been the right time for you. You know, you're 4 years younger than I am. You might need a different path to walk.
But also, you know, the interesting thing to think about your sister Jade is that, like, if she'd got 4 yeses, won Britain's Got Talent or whatever, you know, now she's got her
little boy.
Her little boy. You know, like...
Who's to say that wouldn't have then ended up in rejection anyway?
So it's a different... Yeah, but do you know what I mean? Like,
you can't predetermine anything. For me, rejection has made me stronger, and I still find it difficult when somebody goes, you know, I've cried writing a song, I've put it to my label and they've gone, it's not your best.
I hate it. I can't. I'm terrible at dealing with it.
I'm like, okay, and it sucks and it's hard to hear, but you know, that rejection is going to make you hungrier. It's going to make you stronger. I suppose just don't let the rejection define you, I suppose, is a way to look at it. Like I say, it's valid. It's valid to feel that way. Don't ever think that, you shouldn't feel that way. Rejection is hard, but
it's also like, it's a feeling.
Yeah.
Feel it, move on.
Feel it, move on. Yeah.
The question is from Danielle. And Danielle says, when I'm struggling mentally, I find it hard to ask for help because I feel like I should be able to cope on my own. What's one small thing you do now that helps protect your mental health? And I guess helps you to ask for help when you need it.
I've felt in times before like a bit of a burden on people, and you start thinking, oh, I don't want to bother them with that, or they've got enough going on. People want to help, friends and family are there to help. And I think in times of need, never feel afraid to ask for help because, one thing my grandma used to say is like, treat people as you expect to be treated. And I surround myself with people where I'm there at the drop of a hat if they need me, on the understanding that they probably do the same for me. So never feel guilty for asking for help. And even if you felt, guilty for asking for people, for people close to you, there's so many amazing organisations and charities like Mind and who can help take that burden off. Like I say, I've been working with a coach recently and he was saying, I'm here for you to be able to offload your problems to, because he said, I'm impartial. You're not going to be bogging me down with anything. There's no sort of emotional tie between me and him. And so that means that I can talk freely and openly and ask him for help, or, sometimes it's just a change of perspective. And that can be the biggest difference. So I think don't set an unimaginable bar for yourself as well, because I do that. I set my bar at 120, which is I'm never going to achieve it. So then,
I also think that if I know that feeling like a burden and feeling like you should be able to do this on your own is in itself often a symptom of a lot of mental illness, of depression. It's like your brain telling you that you don't have depression and you should just be able to get on with it.
I should be able to deal with this.
That's depression. And often, that can be a symptom of depression. And often if I feel like I am going to be a burden asking for help, that is in itself the surest sign I need to ask for help. And it might not be like, sometimes my brain, I don't know about you, Calum, but sometimes my brain can go straight to that place of, I just need to be signed off work for 6 months and sent away to a sort of institution and like sedated, right? That's where my brain goes. And actually asking for help doesn't have to be something as big as that. It can just be like, oh, maybe I need to delegate some stuff. Maybe I need to ask for an extension on a work deadline because for totally, and again, then my brain will go, you shouldn't be asking for an extension on a work deadline, and you're like, well, why not? Because life happens.
100%.
And it's like this tyranny of perfection that we put on ourselves is so unhelpful.
I'm a 100% a perfectionist. That's why it takes me so long to get new music over the line, is because I always want to make it as perfect as I can. That will have been something that maybe helped you when you were younger. Might have been a coping mechanism that helped you. I know for me, self-worth has always been a thing that I've struggled with. And I think perfectionism was maybe my way of trying to attain higher self-worth by being perfect at something or doing a good job. But perfectionism doesn't aid me now. It holds me back, if anything.
It becomes actually weirdly self-sabotage.
Because you go, well, you should be better at this, or you shouldn't be asking for help. It's like, I'm just a human being with feelings and life.
Perfect is often the enemy of done. Okay, final question.
Yes.
This is from someone who has not given their name.
Okay, anonymous.
Anon. Unless their name is actually Anon.
Anon. It's a lovely name.
When I feel low, I reach for anything to escape. Food, my phone, shopping, scrolling mindlessly until hours have disappeared. It's like I can't sit with my feelings without distracting myself. How do you stop running from yourself when the real work feels too scary?
Oh my God. It's just so relatable, isn't it?
Yeah.
So as you're reading, I'm just like, that's me.
What are the ways that you try to escape from frightening feelings?
Oh my God. All of the above. I do find myself on my phone just scrolling through it, and I'll be there for hours, and I'm just thinking I've done nothing and nothing productive. I don't feel like I've learned anything from anything I've seen. It literally just feels like you sat at almost like one of those, you put a coin in, the wheels roll around.
Yeah.
It feels like you're at one of them, and I think you're just waiting for something to come along and sort of change your day a little bit, like an endorphin kick. I think for me, one of the things I've found really helpful is manifestation, and not in the sense of thinking about a good thing, hoping that it happens. It's about sitting down as soon as I wake up in the morning. I'll take some time to sit with a notepad and a pen and write down 5 things that I want to achieve, or 5 things that is in my, my vision, on my vision board, or, today I want to find some peace, or today I want to be better at making decisions, or, today I want to go out and get a personal best on my run, or whatever it is. I'll write down 5 things. And I think even just doing that, even the practice of, taking yourself to a place where you're visualizing yourself doing the hard work and visualizing what it is you want and writing it down, it's a positive step forward.
Like positive action.
Yeah, and the good thing with manifestation is you're not writing an unachievable dream down in the hopes that if you write it down it'll come true. It's that you're writing it down, but then you're like thinking about what it will take to get to that dream, and you're visualizing yourself doing the hard work, so that when the hard work does come, it almost feels a little bit easier and you're prepared to do the hard work.
Is it a nice change for you as well? You spoke about in the main episode about the book you had where you just listed all the things you hate about yourself.
Yeah.
Is that a nice antidote to that?
Yeah, because then you're like combating with the complete opposite, with happy thoughts, with positivity, constructive, things that you can tangibly move forward with, rather than trying to change something that is either not unchangeable or it doesn't even exist.
What was on your list this morning?
On my list this morning, it definitely getting better with decisiveness.
Oh,
I'm so bad. I'm so indecisive. Like, to a point where somebody says, "Where do you want to eat tonight?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm not really bothered. Like, what do you think?" And they'll go, "Oh, what about this?" And I'm like, "I don't know about that." And it's like, well, make a decision. I'm so bad at decisiveness. And also just being at peace with something. Like, if I've gotten into a little bit of an altercation with somebody and we go, right, let's draw a line in the sand, sometimes I will say it, and then secretly I'm seething and I'm like waiting for the right opportunity to bring it back up.
Very relatable.
Yeah, it really doesn't help me. So they were on my list this morning. And the good thing is that, like, even just writing them down, I feel better for it because I'm aware, and that awareness is helping me move forward.
A huge thank you to Calum for all of his insight and wisdom. I think he could have a secondary career as an agony uncle. Do agony uncles even still exist? That feels like a very 90s thing, and it probably ages me. Anyway, his story is proof that struggling with self-worth doesn't mean you're broken. It just means you're human. If this episode helped you, I would love it if you could subscribe, follow, share it with a friend. If you're feeling extraordinarily generous, leave us a review. But most importantly of all, I want you to take care of yourself. Be kind to yourself and come back next time for more Life of Bryony.